So introduce your name so people
I'm
know.
an obsolete human, so
You're
that's fine. Doesn't matter. I'm happy to be obsolete. I'm happy to die right this second, and I had a good life, happy life. I've exported all my knowledge to the cloud, so we're all good. Aaron, when he talked about persistent instability, Aaron, this is what we do in entrepreneurship research. That entrepreneurs are looking at this inconsistent world around, and they're creating opportunities. So this is, if you want to look at theory, go look at that, and I can connect you with that. But I think I was discussing in the group about, to your point of cannibalizing. So I have cannibalized my job. I have made myself obsolete. I have left academia. I've got new jobs. I've said no to them because I've created a digital twin of me as a professor. And I just showed it to her. And, if anybody's interested, I can actually show it to you.
Good.
She looks different. It looks like me without my mask, right? But I think too, my question is more on when she talked about creativity and, we want to have, what does it mean to be a human? Does it mean to be creative? But I think DALL-E does a way better job than all of us do. I mean, you say not, right? Again, it is an elite speaking of, there are very few people in the world who are really creative. The rest of us just follow things, right? And that's something that we have to, again, think of this 1%, whether it's intellectual things, and that's something that you need to really figure out. And again, I come from a US perspective. In US, we do a fantastic job of conforming people from society and also in education. You learn this, you do this, you do K through 12, you go to college, if you're smart, you go to Harvard and MIT, and if you're smart, you become a partner in McKinsey, or you do an IPO startup or whatever. And that's a path everyone does and seems to follow. Is that what we want? Then AI will do a way better job than anyone. Why are we so insistent that AI is not our friend? And to your point, I can connect you with some ladies in Rwanda who actually do walk and do field things, so we can actually do that. But I can go on like this.
So thank you so much. I think this opens up those deeper questions that we talked in the beginning about the meaning of work, the meaning of humanity. So I took two things from our discussion and your point, and I'm happy to hear what other things. One is the elitistic part, that we are sitting in the ivory tower. We're talking about creativity. Most people don't want maybe to be creative. You even said in our group that most people don't want even to think. I think this is interesting and needs to be studied even further. And can be experimented. But on the other hand, as you said, this is changing as we're studying it, right? Because what we used to think is the right interesting to educate, for instance, the way we educate is not necessarily the right way to educate now. What we thought would be interesting, that's what people love to do, is not what people necessarily would love to do if they had the option to choose more their jobs. So I think that's a fascinating research direction. Any thoughts from the other panelists?
I thought super interesting. I just was curious about what do you mean by better, especially in the context of art? You said AI can do it better than us.
Whatever, Microsoft, and I go to presentation, they're like, wow, you're such a great designer. I'm like, I don't know. I don't even understand it well enough. The house is full of creative people. So in terms of what perception of people is, how effective my results are, right? But I was company wanted to offer me a job, and they went, how come you're so creative? How do you do that? And like, I can design ideas, whatever you gave me, and I just put it on. I can't even evaluate it as a good. But for the audience, it isn't.
The audience perspective.
Yeah. No, something I was thinking about is just because better is really subjective, art and music in particular, and we can talk about impact, but it's also a lot of my informants were talking in large part about things like why do we need AI in the first place when art is communication between human beings, right? It's not necessarily about necessarily better or worse. It's like inherently art being in communication between human. So anyway, it was an interesting word, and I just kind of wanted to ask further about it. Yes.
Any other comments or any questions from the audience, Caroline?
Just making a quick comment that actually made me think about Bourdieu discourse, and nothing is better to amass that whole discourse and find the optimal distinctiveness than AI.
Yes. Take the mic so the people online can hear you as well. Thank you.
further on this, one of the things I think AI is doing for us, it's exposing some of the variance between our aspirations and the reality of our lived experience. Like we think we've been thinking, have we? Right? We think we've been creative, have we? We think we've been free, have we? And I think AI is giving us a mirror as well. It's challenging us, but I think it's actually teaching us that we haven't been all the things we thought we were, and maybe we can.